Is there anything you've seen sales leaders or presidents, or frankly, whoever winds up being in charge of a CRM rollout, things you've seen them do to make sure that this becomes an investment and not just some massive waste of money? Are there incentives? Is it some of it just mindset and somebody who's near the top of the organization saying, hey, this is important and you need to do this? Curious what you guys have seen.
I've seen a little bit of all of it where it's a mandatory approach saying, hey, this is what it has to be done. Otherwise you're not going to be here. Or, tied into comp plans where if you're putting in your inputs and we're gaining insights on accounts and opportunities, there's incentives tied into building out account plans for the team. But I think overall what business leaders need to be doing is to not, especially in manufacturing, not overload their teams with too much of the tool and kind of break it out into phases to give the original, crawl, walk, run approach to where, hey, we're going to do this in small chunks, let you get familiar with it, see some positive results, and then build and add in other aspects of the tool and the CRM for further growth, down the line, and bring it in the phases of, say, quarterly or monthly, weekly, however your company is set up to do, to grow within the CRM and not just dump everything on, a rep and saying, hey, here's the CRM, figure it out. You have to input all this stuff and just pile on. I think that's where the trust comes into play of, hey, we're working together. We're not working, I'm above you type of approach.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good tidbits in there. What I would say is, one way you're going to get reps to use is salespeople are motivated by money. Tie compensation to, you don't get paid for a new deal or for an expansion within a customer unless this is logged in Salesforce. Because I've seen that used and it works. You will get people, sometimes begrudgingly, that start putting this kind of information in Salesforce if their compensation depends on it. So I agree with Ron that, getting commission based on deals that are won, that needs to be in Salesforce, and it needs to be well documented who was involved in that process. What were threats that could have deterred the customer from choosing you? Why did they choose your business? What does the growth and upside potential look like? So are there other business units you can sell to, different product lines that they're not purchasing initially? That will drive that kind of behavior. And I'd say secondly, that you need someone that's dedicated to training the reps and helping them to go step by step with getting value out of the system. So I love how Ron said, not putting too much on them at once. When you have someone that's focused and committed to helping your sales team get as much out of the tool as possible and taking incremental steps to master the system and see the value of why they should be using it, I think that's also going to help. And that comes from leadership downward of, here's the current state and future state. This is why it matters. And this is how it's going to benefit you. And I think that's the big selling point is, as a sales rep, a sales manager, you have to sell why it's going to benefit them specifically. The time to learn how the CRM works, to work with someone who's dedicated to helping them, learn more about the tool itself. That's how I would start with it. So I'd start with tying it to commission, and I'd also make sure that it's tied to, selling that vision and working closely with someone who's an expert in that, in Salesforce, Dynamics, HubSpot, Oracle Sales Cloud, whatever tool you're using. You need someone who's an expert that can help the reps, get comfortable.